What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Who You Got With.
Melo
And Rado is a sports podcast. We talk your favorite sports debates, sports highlights, and sports matchups. Thank you guys for being here, and we're right in the thick of it in the NBA playoffs right now. And we're here to do some predictions and some previews for you, right, Melo? Let's go with you, man. How you been?
oh yes, you already know how it is. We went through a couple of the first series that are happening in the first round. We had to wait for 7 and 8 to kind of get placed to see who won those seeding spots to be able to play 1 and 2. And now that that's over today, we're pretty much go ahead and review and predict the last four series of the first rounds that we didn't get around to in our last two
Exactly.
episodes.
Got to go through 1-8 and 2-7. Now, obviously, in other years, people say that those it's pretty much the favorites that are gonna win. But this year, we could possibly have something different happen, and we're here to talk about that for sure. There's been
No,
go ahead. Sorry.
And I was gonna say for sure, at this point, even right now, while this episode is live, we have witnessed at least one game from all these series. And while it would have been nice to get some, it might have been better to get that first game in. I mean, but three of these games that we're talking about today are of the today have major
Mm-hmm.
injuries and
True.
implications going into either the rest of this first round or the rest of the playoffs that will definitely determine how these series kind of
That's for
play out.
sure. I mean, obviously, we're gonna be talking about Boston versus Atlanta Hawks. We're gonna be talking about, of course, the Lakers versus the Grizzlies. We're gonna be talking about Denver, of course, versus Minnesota, and we're gonna be talking about um, sorry, who's Milwaukee,
It's
Milwaukee
Heat versus
versus
the
yeah, sorry, I just forgetting because Giannis just got injured, so I'm like, damn. Do we know if he's gonna be back? But let's start it off. Who you want to start out with first?
I mean, let's talk about that right there. I mean, that's got to be the biggest injury going into the postseason. And it's a good question: is Giannis going to be back? For those of you who have not caught up by now, which you should have, there's no excuse. You should know that the Milwaukee Bucks suffered a first game loss to the Heat, but in more than that, they suffered injured Giannis, who's suffering from back contusions, who is now out, who left game one and is very doubtful for game
Yeah.
two. So Giannis was already facing another injury. I think it was his hand. So right now, I think they're definitely going to keep him out game two. Um, I don't know if they're going to keep him out the whole series. I think there's a good chance he come back. I don't know if you looked into it, but what about you? Do you think that he's going to be out for the whole series, or how soon do you think we see
So I
Giannis?
mean, I heard that he might be back in possibly game three, game four. I don't think he's gonna be out more than 2 games. If anything, I think it's just gonna be 1 or 2 games. So definitely game two though. They already said that he's gonna be out game two. So we can definitely foresee that, and then from there we'll see. But I don't think it's like back spasms type thing. So that usually takes you out 2 games in a regular season. So if it takes him out this much in the playoffs, then I don't mind him taking that time just to recover himself because he's probably going to be needed later in the playoffs. I mean, as long as they can make it through here. I mean, I'm not gonna get it twisted. Like Miami, they played really well against the Bucks. I mean, we got to see a little bit of
Oh yeah.
playoff Jimmy.
Oh nah. Honestly, in the absence of Giannis, the Bucks did what they could. But at the end of the day, the name of the name that pretty much stuck out was Jimmy Butler and Bam. Both of them definitely did their thing in that first win, and honestly, it's going to be trouble for the Bucks as a team to kind of guard going through. Eighth seed is a match against number one in most years, and truth be told, this team is still a mismatch
Hmm.
against the Bucks. But without Giannis at this point, do you think the Heat have a better team?
Yes, yes. Without Giannis, I will say that. Yes. I mean, now, do I think that they're gonna win game two? I don't know. I think the game two is going to be very close because even though they don't have Giannis, I do think that Middleton and Brook Lopez are going to have to step up in that game, and they're going to be taking a lot more shots, possibly more 3-pointers to keep up with Miami the way that they've been shooting lately. And I don't know. I think that that game might be close, and maybe they inch out and they win it. But if we're looking at a 7-game series, if he's out all 7 games, then yes, I do expect Miami to win if he's out all 7 games. Now I don't expect that to happen. I still think that Giannis is going to be coming back right around 4th game, like I said. I think that they will be set up pretty well. Where even going into Miami, they can still win on the road very well with the guys that they have. I mean, like I said, if it's a 7-game series and they don't have Giannis, then yes, Miami could take it. But if you're looking at a 4-game series, then I could see them being tied without Giannis the next 3 games. So, they could end up being 2-2 going into the 5th game.
No, I would agree with you. Definitely. At the end of the day, yeah, we understand what Jimmy brings to the table and how we all
Mm-hmm.
expect Jimmy to play in the playoffs. Um, but the Bucks have a lot of players on their team with championship pedigree, championship ring on their finger, and deep playoff experience. So they are definitely a deep team, experienced team, and a lot of
Yeah.
looks like your boy Middleton dropped what 33 last
Yeah.
game in place of Giannis coming out. So you definitely expect him to step up. I just honestly I loved without Giannis. I honestly think it's a way better matchup,
Mm.
a lot more even and a lot more unpredictable.
Mm.
Jimmy versus Chris, basically Butler versus Middleton is a great matchup to see. Seeing how Brook Lopez, who's one of the defensive player of the year
Yeah.
candidates, plays Bam off that pick and roll is definitely good. Because that's one thing I did notice. Bam was scared as shit to take a being guarded by Giannis. But he just pretty much kept shooting that little
Yep.
floater over time after time. So he's
He played
definitely
great after Giannis
gonna.
was out. Yeah.
Mm, he's which is crazy that it's a mismatch because Brook Lopez is one of the best defenders in the league, but I guess he's pretty much
Mm-hmm.
basically using that space. The Bucks are definitely going to keep
Yeah.
dropping off of that pick and roll, and he's pretty much finding his spacing right in
Mm-hmm.
between. So definitely want to see that matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Injury we do got to mention obviously is the absence of Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
Definitely did seem like he was having a good game in game one. Already had 12 points, and it was hitting a few shots, but definitely broke his hand and will be out not just the rest of the series, but at this point, more than likely the
That's
whole
what people are
playoffs.
saying.
He's
Yeah.
expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks, and honestly, I don't see someone back with a broken hand, even if they make it to the finals that soon, unless like they're that desperate and he's very very good with his rehab, because I just don't imagine that hand is going to be usable
Yeah.
to be able to
I
actually
wouldn't
go in
expect
there.
them to. I mean, if they somehow get to sneaking their ways into the finals, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think so. You want to keep him out of there because his hand. That's where he makes his money, shooting the ball with that hand.
So definitely understand what he can bring to the table, so I do think he's shut down regardless for the rest of the year.
Mm.
So I definitely want to see who else will step up on Miami. Who's gonna step up on the Buck side without Giannis? We already know Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday are going to try to do what they need to do to support Middleton. But besides Jimmy and Bam, who else do you think can actually pose a threat to the Bucks defense and actually the heat that they're gonna step
I
up?
mean, it's got to be 2 guys. It's got to be Caleb Martin and it's got to be Gabe Vincent. It's got to be those 2 guys for me. And I want to see them hit threes. Is what I want to see them do. That's how they won in the first game, and that's how they're gonna keep up in this series. The one thing that the Bucks do struggle with is shooting a lot of threes. I mean, you have guys on that team that can shoot threes. Middleton, Brook Lopez can shoot them. Giannis has been getting better. Obviously, Grayson Allen, but as a whole team, they're not. Their percentage isn't great. I mean, Miami does shoot the ball very good. Without Tyler Hero, obviously they're missing a lot there. But I do expect them to
Hmm.
keep shooting those threes, and if Jimmy Butler keeps going inside and keep pushes the ball to the outside. I mean, he did have 11 assists that first game, and that's what he was doing. He was going inside, going to the right hand side, trying to get a layup, and if it wasn't there, he would just push the ball out to the corner or right on the elbow and let his guys shoot it. And I do expect them to keep doing that because that's definitely going to be what you want to do against a team like Milwaukee that plays really well on the road when they get to Miami.
See, for me, it's definitely gotta have to be Max with a big loss in shooting and obviously in shot creation because he honestly was the only other person besides Jimmy who can go get himself a bucket. But with the loss of that lethal shooting and so much just points coming off the board, like Miami was a very they were a very different team in the fact that they had three players average over 20. And obviously Hero, Butler, and Bam. So without Hero, that's 20 points plus your best shooter missing. And I definitely do think while role players like Vincent and Martin do have to step up, and they did what they could in the first game. Both of them, I think Vincent had 15, Martin had 15 as well. We didn't see nothing from Struss. He had 8 points, and then in my opinion, if they stand a chance of competing in this series with or without Giannis, Max Struss has to become their go-to shooter, and obviously we all know they rely on putting in there because of his liability on defense, no matter how much they pay him.
That's a whole fact, and we had a discussion about that last year for sure, and you were totally right about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still surprised he's still on the team, getting paid so much money to just sit on the bench. But
I know.
but anyways, that might be a story for another day. But you're right. You're probably right about Struss. He does need to start shooting a few more shots actually, because I do think that he is a good shooter. He was in a regular season. I think he can definitely do work for this team. But I mean, let's talk about who you got for the series. I mean, I do expect it to be a little bit closer now that Giannis could be out for 1 or 2 games, but you do got Tyler Hero out on the other side. So, I mean, let me ask you, who you got for this series to win it?
So definitely, like you said, without Giannis, it made it a closer series, but then they lost Hero. So at that point, I don't think there's any way you can convince anyone that the Heat makes it out of here, especially when we all know Giannis is coming back while Hero is not. Um, without Giannis, the Bucks, and I'll be honest, even though they lost, they still showed that they can play. Like
Yeah.
they can definitely play without Giannis. He's got to figure it out. It's going to be a lot more competitive. But at the end of the day, we're talking about top 5 in 3-point attempts and rim attempts. So this is a team that can get to the basket and a team that can shoot. So I feel like they're a team that can mold and adapt to what they need to adapt. And honestly, obviously they been able to go in the paint with Giannis. I always say one of their best plays they have is Brook Lopez in the paint, and he's still lethal in the paint. Obviously Middleton getting to his spots.
True.
Your boy
True.
Drew Holiday backing up smaller guards.
Very true.
Again, pretty much, I still think they could find a way to basically force the work into
Paint
the
area. Yep.
paint, force allow their shooters to still get open. So I do think it's gonna be a little tougher, but I definitely got the Bucks winning this whole series. And with the absence of Giannis, I do not think they win the next game, but I do think they win one more. So I do got the Bucks winning this series 4-2.
Nice.
Bucks and
So
6. What about you? Who
yeah,
you got?
so that's a good analysis that you have because I do agree with that. I do think that the inside game is gonna matter a lot, and if Bam definitely gets his work, down low against guys like Lopez, and especially because there's gonna be a little bit more open space down there now that Giannis is not there. Next game, then it could be a little bit closer, but I kind of tend to agree with you. I don't think they're gonna win next game. I do think they're gonna win one in Miami, and then the series is gonna end up being 2-2, but I do expect Giannis to be back possibly game 4 of this series, and after game 4, I could see the Bucks winning game 4, 5, and 6, and taking this a 6-game series. And like you said, yeah, 6 games for the Bucks and moving on quickly. But let's say Giannis comes back the third game, I would not be surprised if they just take over the next the next four games. Honestly, if Giannis comes back quickly. because I do expect the Bucks to come out hot next game. Like they'll come out hot, and then it'll be a little bit closer towards the end, but they're definitely gonna come out hot, trying to score.
I mean, a lot of what we expect from the Heat is just based on playoff Jimmy.
True,
As a team, even without Giannis,
true.
without Hero, it's not even
Nah,
close.
not. It's really not. It's really not. And honestly, you know, on the other side of the bracket, I mean, you can pretty much. Well, let's talk about that. We got the Nugget.
Nah, you can say it. You can say it. You
Yeah,
can say the
yeah, you
same
can
thing.
kind of say it. You can say that it's gonna possibly be a beatdown, but let's talk about it anyways. The Nuggets versus the Timberwolves. Obviously, we know how the Timberwolves got into the playoffs. You know, with they had their little play-in antics. Rudy Gobert got suspended for the first game against the Lakers, and they won their second game, and now they're in the playoffs against MVP candidate and Jokic and his full squad pretty much. Murray and Michael Porter Jr. Who you got for this one in the series?
Well, this one, man, I still think it's gonna be an interesting
Mm,
series. The Twin Towers and Gobert and Towns against Jokic. Great. At the end of the day, you got the best team in basketball. Uh, I I think they had, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm thinking of, I'm pretty sure that only did they have the best record, but at the end of the day, even when you take, I mean, and this is me just being unbiased, take the Celtics, take the Bucks. Like I do think that the Nuggets still got the best team in
yeah,
basketball. I mean, I seen a stat a few weeks ago where it was like a Jokic post up is the most efficient play in basketball right now, and it's not even
that's a
close.
fact.
Whether he's scoring, whether he's passing out of it, pretty much the efficiency of him, you giving the ball to him in the post is gonna pretty much give you a basket, and that's what they made their season, man. They can score.
Hmm.
You got Mr. Jokic, who's gonna give you a damn near triple double. Obviously, we all know what Murray's bringing to the table, and love that he's doing what he can do coming back from his injury. And at the end of the day, we got what's it called? I'll be watching TikToks about Michael Porter Jr. And it's basically like I never seen a basket he didn't like. And I
He
swear
be
to God,
shooting, boy. He
it's
be
true.
shooting.
That man shoot everything, but the crazy part is he's still
Very efficient.
efficient. He still be dropping 20-point games off a 10-11 shooting, a couple rebounds, and obviously 0 to 1 assists. So I do think that whole team is coming to its own.
That's for sure.
Gordon's getting back into full strength too, so I do like their chances, but I definitely want to see that big three trio kind of compares with each other. Like, who do you think is gonna uh? Like, do you think they're just gonna straight put Gobert in him, obviously as a defensive player? And then do you think that Jokic is gonna be guarding Towns instead of Gobert? Like, how do you think that matchup is really
Yeah,
gonna
I
work?
actually do think that Jokic is going to be guarding Towns because I think that they both play kind of similar in that 3 point line starting out, getting the ball in that 3 point line. Towns always looks for threes as well. Obviously, he's a 3 point champion as far as All Star game, but you know, Jokic definitely plays that same type of style where he gets the ball at the 3 point line, looks around, and if he doesn't like the look, then he passes it out to his point guard and goes inside. But I definitely agree there. On the other side of the defense, I do think that you're gonna get Rudy on Jokic most times. But watching what happened the first game, I mean, Denver just they played incredible. I mean, they had one of the biggest playoff wins in their history. They won by 29 points, but like just the way that they won was incredible. Like they literally shut them down every sense of the way. They didn't let them score down low. After like the second quarter, because the middle of the second quarter they were both tied up, but right after that it was pretty much over. Like they stopped letting them score down low, and all they had like the Minnesota tried to do was shoot threes, and they were barely making like 30%. So honestly, like that's a way that they could stop them if they could stop them from scoring down low and not let Gobert and obviously Cat, do work down low and just kind of have him rely on that three. Then that's a way that they can win this series, and I think they're gonna win it honestly easily. I think this series it comes down to Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. But right now, everyone's playing well. Like the first game, everyone went over double digits. They had six guys over double digits, and they're just distributing the ball so well. Like everyone's passing it around, and honestly, I got this series as a sweep, sweep. Bring in the brooms. Bring
Damn,
out
you
the
calling it a
brooms.
sweep?
I got it as a sweep, bro. Bring the brooms out.
You don't think Minnesota could even win one game?
No games. Not the way that they've been playing. They match up. I thought that they were going to match up a little bit better against them, but the way that I saw Rudy trying to, hold down Jokic and it wasn't working. Jokic was just distributing the ball very well. He was getting assists, and obviously down low, I do think that, um, Rudy at times he misses easy shots. Like even if he has a guy like Aaron Gordon guarding him, he can miss an easy like shot that he's like from 8 feet from the basket, trying to shoot a backboard shot. But honestly, I do think that the talent is on Denver's side. One thing I will say though, they weren't the best team in the league this season. It was Milwaukee. They had the best record. Yeah, they had
It was,
58,
yeah.
but
I didn't think they had the best record. Yeah.
other than that, like they were the second best team, and Jokic showed why he deserves to be an MVP candidate, and why he's been a two-time MVP winner. I definitely think they're moving on and moving on quickly from this team. What about you though? Who you think gonna win it? Honestly.
Uh, honestly, I do got the
Ooh,
Nuggets winning. I do got them losing one
they
game.
got one.
I think it's one game where Minnesota is going to get a chance to show off some decent
Hmm.
shooting. Minnesota's above average at 3-point shooting, is where does it sound because they don't have, and that's actually one of Denver's weaknesses. So I do think that the game plan, especially uh, with pulling Jokic out from the paint, guarding Cat, and find a way to win one game. But yeah, I mean, pretty much like you said, the overall just Jokic, Murray, Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, that four man combo right there is just absolutely disgusting. You still got players coming in like Bruce Brown, still
Yep.
putting up double digit points average throughout the season. So it's like basically with certain losses of players, but you pretty much had 5 to 6
They still got a
consistently dropping double digit
they still got a
points.
deep, deep bench. Yeah, even when they lose player, deep
Deep
bench.
defense,
And they got rid of
exactly.
Bones Highland, which was a big scorer for
I
them.
was
And
saying he was the only other
yeah,
person that in like over 10 that they lost, but besides him, they still got Jokic, Murray, uh, Porter, Gordon, Brown. So
it's great.
literally what
Six
one, two,
guys.
three, four, six
You got
guys
six guys
exactly
over
scoring
10.
double digit average
And that's literally what happened
throughout the
last game
season.
in the first. I'm sorry, in the first
And that's what
game.
you said that they did the first game
Yeah.
exactly. So that just goes to show how lethal that team's gonna be on offense, and that's pretty much what they've been
Mhm.
sufficiency, fourth and 3-point shooting. Pretty much, they still slowed down towards the end of the year, but that was honestly due to coasting. They haven't played a meaningful game of basketball in almost a month now. They just already knew they were clinched and pretty much just kind of were just going through the
Yep.
motions. Gordon was also missing as well. So now that he's back, like I said, this team is going to be very lethal to deal with. Such an issue scoring the ball, and it honestly makes up for their average defense. So I definitely do think Minnesota exposed that average defense just once with a good 3-point
Hmm.
shooting night. But definitely do got this as a Nuggets win and
Oh,
five. I got a
okay.
4-1.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them getting one. I could definitely see them getting one, but honestly, I do think that like I said, Denver is just the overall better team. They got, like you said, six guys that are scoring double digit figures right now, and honestly, there's nobody that can get in their way the way that they're playing offensively right now. Not yet, at least, not yet, but
In the West.
not yet until they meet somebody, in the next series and in that Phoenix LA Clippers series. Then we'll talk about it. But like I said, bringing those brooms for Denver, bring them. Anyways, let's go on to the 2 versus 7 matchups. Though these are both gonna be pretty exciting. At least on one side of the bracket is definitely gonna be exciting for one reason, because we got a super fan of it, and the other side of the bracket is gonna be exciting for a matchup. But
Yeah, I mean, this is another one that we got an injury coming up, and obviously, like you said, one of them I'm a super fan of, so I already know who I got winning the series and the whole thing. But before I move on, let's go ahead and take it back to you. for our mid episode
Of course,
announcements.
and of course, if you guys are watching the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the page, and make sure you guys turn on the post notifications on because that let us know that you guys like watching videos like this and like listening to us talk about the NBA. And also, if you guys want to check us out on Patreon, we got a lot of cool stuff on there. We put on some episodes that are never seen on YouTube, and also you guys can just give some general support and check out some of the merch that we have on there with our old logo. But if you want the merch with the new logo and you want to see our new blogs that we got, Melo, why don't you tell them where they can get that?
Yes, everything else can pretty much be found at www.whoyougotpodcast.com. You got access to all of our podcasts. You can listen to them there as well as get links to all your favorite platforms that you already listen to. I think we're almost everywhere you can imagine.
Of course.
Links to our videos from our YouTube lives. You can listen on the website and watch on the website as well as just going directly to our YouTube/, Who You Got
That's
Podcast.
right, of course. And
Yep,
if
and obviously get our
yeah,
support there. And then I was gonna say the last thing you could find there is our updated merch with all our new logo. We got a lot of stuff there for the summer. We got some bucket
mm.
hats. We
Yo,
got
check
some
those
fan.
slippers. Those
What was it?
flip flops are nice, bro. And the slippers,
Yep,
my
yep.
bad, not
The flip flops. We got
slippers.
the
I like
flip
those.
flops. We got socks. And we even got some bags. Both the fanny packs and just the regular bags, just making sure we got you all geared up for
For
the
sure.
summer. And obviously we got access to our blog so you can get a little light reading along with all of our
That's right.
episodes.
That's right. And of course, if you guys want to just keep updated with us on our social medias on Instagram, I'm the Iconic Dude, and Melo.
Mellow the
Nice,
Notorious.
nice. So let's go on to the 2 vs 7 matchups. I mean, I want to talk about this one because I do think it's going to be one of the most interesting matchups in the NBA this playoffs and this whole playoff run, honestly. Lakers versus Memphis Grizzlies. Honestly, this could be so intriguing. Now, you do got a big injury, and you do got a team that's coming in very, very high in the playoffs. I'm talking about the Lakers. So let's talk about this one. Melo, who you got for this one? Memphis Grizzlies versus LA Lakers.
We didn't get a chance to drop this episode before the series started, but there was a couple of hot takes that I had about this whole first round. In case you didn't catch our last episode, I did predict Kings would beat the Warriors in the first round, while most people didn't have them as the favorites, even though they're number three seed. They are now up 2-0.
They are.
Before the injury, as much as I'll be honest, I wanted to pick the Warriors. Just I love the Warriors and the way they play basketball. But I'm like, I'll be honest, like I'm gonna give it to the Kings. Like I really think they've been doing what they're supposed to do, and they got the pieces. Before the I wanted to pick the Lakers. I want LeBron to go another run. I want AD to get a good shot. I want them to go deep in the playoffs.
Mm.
But realistically, before the John Morant injury, I just unfortunately had Memphis winning this series.
Oh.
Uh, and it was going to be
Oh.
a tough series. And I was very back, and that was probably the hardest to make. I had it going 7 games regardless. And initially, I picked Lakers, but then I took a step back and realized I was picking Lakers just because I want the Lakers to win. Because I'll be honest, like most people, I cannot stand the damn Grizzlies. They talk too much. They're young. They get them. Like I just wanted them to lose. But then I got to the point that back. Like at the end of the day, they're the second seed for a reason. John Morant is a phenom. Pretty much nothing like we've seen since we've seen when Derrick Rose or Westbrook, technically kind of the same build.
Allen
Jaren
Iverson, you
Jackson
could say.
Jr. great. Yeah, basically, yeah. Jaren Jackson Jr. having Player of the Year candidate. Desmond Bain stepping up, Tyus Jones doing great coming off the bench. I literally thought that team was very well put together and they had a good shot. But now right now we got no Morant and we don't even have any Adams.
That's right. Steven
So
Adams is
it's
out. Oof, that's gonna be a big loss.
so that's another big loss for them too. So
Mm.
at this point, the series does change and it changes a
Mm.
lot.
Yeah.
Um, answer is, we're going to see from LeBron, are we going to see him take over now that he's the best player in the series by far? Or are we still going to see him kind of take a step back and kind of let everyone else kind of step up and see if they can use everyone else to kind of get them past the Memphis Grizzlies if they can? What do you think? What do you think we're going to see from this
See, I
series?
I do think that the Lakers were so hot coming into the playoffs that they don't even seem like a 7 seed at all. Like, I mean, looking at them just from the All Star break and beyond, they were literally like or probably the top one of the top three teams as far as records are concerned. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly,
I think they were the second best team after the All Star break.
I know the Knicks were
No, I
first.
think they were the
Knicks were
best team.
first, and
They,
then I don't know if they were second or third. It was between them and I think it might have been the Kings actually. Because the Kings had a really good run at the end of the season just to keep their
no, the second. They had the second best record.
nice nice. Yeah, so I mean, definitely like they were so hot coming into this playoffs that they don't even seem like a 7 seed at all. Like you're looking at them, and they got both LeBron and AD healthy right now. They got D'Angelo Russell, who could be considered
Mm-hmm.
a great third option. And right now, you got
Oh yeah,
Austin Reeves coming in as like the second coming of like a Peja Stojakovic or something like that. But honestly,
bro. Watching him in the first game and that second half in the fourth quarter was
for real, like
amazing.
he was making three, then mid range two, going in for a layup, another three. Like he was hitting every single
Behind the back
assist.
assist to
Oof.
Rui. I screw
Hmm.
ouch. Oh man, he was playing his ass
Yeah,
off.
and it's so like cool, like learning his story. Like I got to hear a little bit about how he got drafted. He obviously was an undrafted free agent, and somebody was gonna take him. I believe it was the Detroit Pistons were gonna take him in the
Yep, it
48th
was.
pick, and he got a phone call from them, and they said we're gonna take you on a 2-way contract. But before the draft, the Lakers already said that if you go undrafted, we'll pick you up on a 2-way contract. So he just decided, well, I'm just gonna choose the Lakers. I'm gonna wait it out and stay undrafted. The Lakers took him on a 2-way contract, and you see what he's doing now. He's definitely gonna
Hmm.
get paid at the end of the year, but definitely doing work for the Lakers right now. And honestly, the Lakers, all the guys that they picked up, and that after the All Star break and before the trade deadline, they're doing really well for them. Obviously, Hachimura we talked about, but Russell's doing amazing, and you gotta really give a lot of props that LeBron and AD are actually able to stay on the court together. Now, I do think the best player on the court is not even LeBron James. It's
It's AD.
AD in this series. And is I think that AD is gonna have to step it up and show us what he can do in these playoffs. I think LeBron is gonna need to kind of take a step down and let AD do work, but we are gonna see if he can actually do it. I'm not sure if AD can, and if he can't, then we might have to see LeBron step up. But now, do we know if John Morant's coming back? By the end of the series, they're talking about they're doing hand X-rays. They had him in ice. I mean, they're saying he might.
That's the one we don't
Hmm.
know. That's the one we know. Heroes out 4 to 6 weeks. We know Giannis will be back in probably two
Yeah,
games. But
they're
John
still
Morant,
doing
that's the one we
right.
said he was in excruciating pain.
And as far as I saw him after game one, before game two, he was in ice. He had like his whole like hand in ice. So we don't know if he's gonna be playing in that game two. I expect this series to go 6 games, and this just because of John Morant. Honestly, if he's not playing that second game, I expect it to go 6 games. But if he comes back the second game, then I expect this series to be 7 games. Now for my winner,
I think he's very
yeah,
questionable for a
I
second
know,
game. Just like Giannis, I just
yeah,
looked it up right now. He is not broken. It is not broken, just hurt badly. So he is questionable. So it's looking like he's gonna try to get back this
right.
series.
So he might be back third game, but honestly, it might be a little too late. It might be a little too late because it's gonna be a tough fought game two anyways. And I don't know. Without John Moran, do you think they can win that second game even?
And truthfully, I think this also goes six. I think it's gonna be a well fought series, but the Lakers bear like it's so crazy because like yeah they won what 16 points,
Yeah,
but that all happened in like the last 4 or 5 minutes.
That's for sure. Yeah, there was.
It was
Well,
such a
they won
close
15
game.
and 0 the last. They had like a 15
It
to
was
0
ridiculous
scoring
how they
run. They
shut
did.
down.
It was
They shut down Memphis so
yeah.
bad in the last like
It
4 minutes. It
was
was
113 to
ridiculous.
112, and then they didn't let them score anymore after that. You're right. That's what it was.
So honestly, with that game, they had no answer for Jaren Jackson. No answer.
It's because AD is skinny, bro.
Both they had LeBron
Oh
on him.
yeah,
LeBron
he did.
couldn't
Yeah, he
stop
was
him.
on there too.
They had LeBron on him. LeBron couldn't stop. Both what Bane and who was it? Tyus Jones had a horrible shooting nights. Were left open for a while, but I think they both combined for like 6 for 18 shooting. Uh, and even then, they were still right in there.
That's true. That's true.
Um, LeBron had a good game. AD went off. Rui went off. Reeves went off. When I can see Rui and Reeves go off every game. So I do think that this series is going to be going to show different options on who's going to step up each night. And even without Morant, I do think that the Memphis team is going to compete. Like I said, they know they actually know a good way, and I wouldn't say good way, but they know more than most, honestly, on how to slow down LeBron. And they did that the first game,
Mm,
to the point where it wasn't that like that's the thing. Like LeBron's not slow him down. He's not
mm-hmm.
unstoppable, but it does force other people to step up. And fortunately for Lakers, they had two people that stepped up. So I definitely do think that without Morant, the Grizzlies still actually compete. Like I said, with Morant, fully healthy Morant actually had them winning this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a 4-2 series. Even if it does, I just think LeBron James has been slowly molding himself into what season.
Yep.
We don't need
Yep.
him to go off.
Mm-hmm.
We need
Mm-hmm.
AD to carry the load and be the number
Mm-hmm.
supporting cast. And honestly, since the last couple of years, he's averaged over 8. Went back to Cleveland, started getting 3 and D. Him, he came back to the Lakers. Him and AD, with the talent that he's had, and with this team now that's built around him, I think he has a perfect chance to basically continue to lean on them and allow different people to step up he's supposed to do. So I definitely do think it's gonna be a great series, but I do think LeBron is kind as long as they don't get injured, he's gonna have a hell of a series, and we're gonna see a tough fought one against him and JJJ.
Yeah, man. Well, I do think that there's definitely it's gonna be a competitor because there's definitely a reason that Memphis was the number 2 seed, even though they didn't have Morant for even like half the season, like almost half the season he was out, and they were still very competitive in the
They play great
did,
without him.
and I think that they're still gonna. It's just that looking at the way stylistically how they play, they're gonna have to play more inside game. They're not gonna be playing more outside with Bane and stuff like that. Because I do think having LeBron and Russell defend at times that they can. Obviously, you got AD, who I think is one of the best defenders in the league when he's on the court. But I mean, I definitely think that the Lakers can defend, and they play very well against Memphis. Without Morant, it's gonna be tough. If it was another series, like if Memphis was playing Minnesota, I could see them winning a series, against Minnesota without Morant. But since it's the Lakers right now, and the Lakers are so hot, you got LeBron that's very healthy, AD is very healthy, and all the guys, the supporting cast is actually doing what they're supposed to do. Obviously, Austin Reeves is having a great end of the season, and right now start of the playoffs. So we'll definitely see his progression. But I think the Lakers are too much for Memphis right now, and they just played them at the wrong time. And I got the Lakers moving on. But honestly, even without or even before John Moran was out, I would have had the Lakers too, because I had Lakers moving on. I thought that they were gonna move on like way before this. Once they made that trade and I saw like what they were doing, I really thought that they were gonna be representing in that Western Conference Finals, and I definitely could possibly see them there.
So
Lakers 4-2.
definitely, but like I said, I'm trying to take a lot of my bias out. And with the West, like I'm gonna tell you right now, I favorite the Lakers a lot.
I feel you,
And then I think
but
with the
not just you.
Warriors, we
Vegas does too.
right, and that's what I'm saying. With the Warriors, we all think that they do, but we all think that they just have a magical switch that they could
That's
just turn
true. But
on.
then again, like
And that they do, but then again, like age has got to them, injuries has got to them. Sleep on the Kings. Same thing
that's
with
true.
the Lakers, man. We all think they just have this magical switch they can just turn on, and at the end of the day, we all hate the Grizzlies. Man, hate the Grizzlies. We all want to see Dylan Brooks go home. But like you said, there's a reason why they were second in the West, even without having John Morant for a few games. They're a great
They
coach
are.
team, great all around, and at the end of the day, they are going to handle business. You got to remember they were this close to honestly making out the West last year if it wasn't for another
John Andrew,
John
yep.
that they have a lot of potential,
No,
even though we don't like the
they
team. So
definitely.
I did have them go winning.
Oh, you had them winning the series for sure, but I mean, they definitely had potential. But I mean, looking at what the Lakers were doing, I mean, that kind of shows you that, like, even from the All Star break, that shows you that they're pretty much a different team. They're not the same team that they were, in the beginning of the season. Obviously, they started out like 2-10, I think, something like that, something crazy. So they're
Right.
definitely not that same team. Going into the playoffs, them being healthy, I just think that they're playing a totally different team than the that people expect. Also, with as far as the Warriors, I mean, you got to look at the playoffs. Also, the way that they have it set up. 2 games at home for one team, 2 games at home for the other team, and then you go 1-1-1. So you kind of expect the home team to win the first two, and then you go to the away team, and then they should win the next two. So I'm expecting the Warriors to come back and win that next two. So I don't know if that series is over just yet. I do expect that series to go 7 games. I think we both. I think I had it 6 games. I might switch it up to 7, but I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with
Yeah,
my
I
6.
definitely had it 7.
hmm
Yeah, I definitely
I'm
had it
I'm sticking
7.
with my
Kings, I
6.
think you did have it
I'm
less
sticking
than
with my. I
that.
think once they get in Golden State, they're gonna come back. But you guys could definitely check out our.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys could check out our previous episode that we did. If you guys want to hear what we said about that series, because that was definitely one of the most intriguing series of the playoffs for sure. And this will be too, Lakers versus Memphis. And so we both got Lakers moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Lakers
yeah,
in
and
6.
now from one story franchise and the Lakers to another story franchise on the Eastern Conference, the Celtics versus Atlanta. Man, Atlanta just squeaked their way into the playoffs, beating Miami in the first playing game, and obviously Boston's been tearing it up with both of their guys all season, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and obviously Jason Tatum is a MVP candidate as well. He's not gonna get it this year, but he's top 5 for MVP candidate. So good for him, honestly,
Right.
and good for the coach Mazzulla. He got this team to a good record. So I mean, do I even gotta say it? Who you got for this series? Do I even gotta say it?
Like my sons, boy, like my sons. Like that boy, like that fan. Celtics in
Celtics in
4.
4.
Celtics in 4. Celtics in 4. Saying nothing, man. Like,
Bring the brooms.
we wait a freaking booms. Like you said that about Memphis, and I'll
Nah,
be
not
honest,
Memphis, but
I wouldn't
Denver.
surprise Denver.
Yeah.
Yes, you said that about Denver, and it would not surprise me. I like competitive basketball. I think almost team has a chance of winning one game. So I don't know if this is just my straight bias, but ain't no 80 winning one against us, man. Ain't no way. And honestly, man, they didn't do a great job showing that game one.
Nah.
Or if I'm being honest, they're playing
In
right
game
now,
2,
and
they didn't
it's
look good either. No.
not looking so good. You say, man, they can't stop our boys. They can't stop the Jays, and at that point, like I do see that they are gonna give us some damage with Trey Young and Murray. But at the end of the day, they take way too many mid range
hmm
shots. They don't take enough threes, and they can't get any boards. That doesn't help when you're playing the site perimeter defenders who will push you off that 3 point line, force you into those mid range, and basically our two big men down there are gonna
Yep.
get boards. So basically, They're gonna be forced to pretty much. What was the series we were talking about? Oh, Cavs versus Knicks.
Yeah.
They have no choice but to really focus on coming off that screen, hitting that mid range. And I'll be honest, like I love what Trey Young and Murray bring to the table, but they're just not that efficient.
Mm. Trey Young has off games a lot. I mean,
A
even though
lot.
yeah he's a shooter, but he does have some off games. I mean Murray seems a little more
So
efficient because he's a mid range player. He doesn't take as many threes. So, but I agree with you. He's not that efficient either.
that's what I'm saying. So I think, were Ye and made threes. Like I said, they got someone like Trey Young who could shoot his ass off, but
Nobody
they
else.
get ran
Yeah.
off that 3 point line a lot. Next good 3 point shooters are
Yeah.
Sadiq Bey and
Yeah.
Bogdanovich. And at that point, they're the only two decent shooters.
Yeah. They,
First game, I think they were 3 for 11.
yeah.
So for
It's
them,
terrible.
we're gonna leave them open and pressure Murray, and like we're gonna make the rest of the team beat us. And I don't think they have the rest of the
Well,
team to beat us.
they
What
lost one of
about
their
you?
best 3 point shooters in Huerter, who went to the Kings, obviously, and now he's in the top 15 in 3 pointers made this
Mm-hmm.
season. So they would have needed him in a series like this. But I'll be honest with you, man, this series it does look like a beatdown from Boston. I'll be honest with you. You're totally right. They're missing rebounding and they're missing 3 point shooting, and they're not doing
Mm-hmm.
good at both of those. And obviously, Boston has been known to do good at that, especially
Literally.
Williams, and he's been stepping it up towards the end of the season. I got to give it to him. Obviously, you had Brown with a little slight injury, at the end of the season, and he still got like a mask on. He's
He's
still
still. I was about to say no. He's still fighting through a Brown's still fighting through a
hand
the motherfucker
injury, face
cut
injury.
his hand watering
Yeah,
plants
that's what I was saying. One of the dumbest injuries. Yeah,
on a vase. The dumbest things ever. And it actually sliced
yeah.
open first game. Actually, let me double check.
It was.
Because
No, you're totally right about that.
I want to double check to see if he's actually
You're totally right.
playing
It definitely
tonight or how he.
well it definitely opened up his hand, but he's playing pretty well tonight. He's already over double digit figures scoring, so
Yeah, he
he's
is.
definitely gonna he's gonna have a good night. He also had 3 steals, so maybe that hand feels fine enough to to grab some, grab those balls away from other people. But I gotta say, I think that you guys are set up for success, especially in the East. I think that you guys got scorers, mid-range scorers, 3 point scorers, and you have great defense. And honestly, in this league, what you need is good 3 point shooters and great defenders, and you guys have that. Obviously, Al Horford, the man seems like he doesn't age. Like he literally is on playing on another level that you didn't think that he was going to play at. Uh, at this stage in his career. So I got to give it to this team. I think I agree with you, man. I think you got to bring the brooms. Bring the brooms. Bring that Swiffer sweeper.
I
I think
mean,
that I think it's over for Atlanta. I think it's gonna be a 4-0 sweep. Boston got it.
I'll be honest. Before the series started, as soon as I knew that they beat the
Yeah.
Heat, I was like, oh, Celtics
Yeah.
versus Hawks, free
Yes.
eats. I was like, free eats. Because not even trying to be funny, the besides the top two teams, besides us, like I say, I keep saying it, and we're gonna see it if everything goes well with our series and Philly series. We're gonna see it next round. But I see that this is the first year I'm finally scared of Philly.
Ooh.
And they finally have a good team to where every other year, I don't care who they had, Jimmy Butler,
Mm,
Ben Simmons, like I never once thought they could beat us in a seven
mm.
game series. I still got us in a 7 game series, but I finally think it
Yeah.
goes to seven. Before then, like I
I
wasn't
could
even
agree
worried.
with that, and I think that was my prediction at the beginning of the season for the Eastern Conference Finals was Boston versus Philly in a 7 game series.
So since the problem is we got the
I
next
know, but
round.
for in the beginning of the season, that was my
Yeah,
yeah.
Giannis don't come back, and the Heat and Knicks end up fighting for a shot in
The
the Eastern
Knicks in the
Conference final,
Eastern
while
Conference.
in the 76 are battling each other out in the,
What looks
you know
like
what
to
I'm
be
saying?
the
Like, so
finals.
it does.
Right.
Exactly. So it does suck. We get
Right.
Philly next round, and I was really hoping. But at the end of the day, that's supposed to lead up to the Bucks in the conference finals. So it ain't gonna. But I definitely uh don't have no fear of any other. Even though I do appreciate what Philly and what the Bucks have,
Hmm.
but the Hawks match up so bad
Yes. Yeah.
against us. Like
It's
it's
bad.
a match made in
That's
heaven.
yo.
Like you said, 3-point shooting, they're horrible at. That's
Hmm.
defense and rim protection, they're horrible at. That's our bread and butter. We're gonna force Trey Young to come off the screens. We're gonna force him. Deontay, and that's the thing. Smart guarding Trey, Brown guarding you got two dogs on you. Like it's a matchup hell for the Hawks, and I don't even think they ever stood a chance,
Yeah,
man.
I totally agree with that. And I'll be honest, like I don't know if you remember when we talked about Atlanta playing versus Miami. I even said that if Miami was to play against you guys in a series, that it would be a way
I was gonna
tougher
be in
series because
trouble.
I do think that Miami matches up way better than Atlanta does.
No, they're that's what I was gonna say. He obviously the Bucks and the 76ers and the Celtics are top three, but the only other team in the East fear and not fear as in lose, but they would give
Right.
us comp is a fully healthy Heat
Right.
team.
I just think they match up. They
100%.
obviously not with Tyler Hero, totally different story. But I just think they
Right,
match up
right,
so
right.
well with you guys. We saw that last year, and
They
even
do.
this year they played some
Mm-hmm.
really tight games. So I'll be honest, you guys got lucky with this first round. But
Yo, yeah, yeah. As soon as I seen the like Heat Celtic in
and that's
four,
what I was
baby.
thinking too. I'll be honest. Once I saw that, once I saw Hawks are gonna be in there, I was like, yeah, this is a sweep. This is a sweep. Just Matt.
Talking about shooting, just from the two games we've been watching, they have no answer for Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum heading
Mhm.
downhill. They can't stop them at the rim, which
Mhm.
in return is opening up our shooting. But like the only way we could lose is if we just fall
Yep.
so
But
flat
this.
on shooting threes, or if they just really force Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum to have such off games that like we rely on someone like Marcus
Mm.
Smart
Yeah.
because all Marcus Smart hands for extended periods of time to make decisions is
It's
probably
problematic.
our
Mhm.
biggest weakness. Yeah. That's something we don't
Mhm.
want to do. But at the end of the day, even then, putting that's why we picked up someone like White and why we have someone on the bench like
Right.
Brogdon
That's true.
to make sure that doesn't get stuck in Marcus Smart
That's true.
hands. So like I really don't see him
I
coming
don't
out
either.
like our coaching is so like it's a
I think you
problem,
guys are
man.
definitely a
It's a
problem
problem.
against them, and I think we both got it as a sweep, which is crazy. But I do expect it to happen.
In the
Oh
first
wow!
round.
See, I got two
Like
sweeps. I
saying
got
you
two
had
sweeps. I got
Nuggets.
Nuggets and
Yeah.
Boston. But real quick for the people that didn't watch our previous episodes, now we're not gonna give the games because if you guys want to watch the full episodes, you guys can check them out and see who we had in the 3-6 matchup and the 4-5 matchups. But let's just tell the people who we had winning the series: Cleveland versus New York. Who'd you have in that one?
I have
Same
Cleveland.
here. I had Cleveland. Then we go off.
Not looking too good for
No,
us, huh?
not. I mean, we'll see. I think it's gonna
We'll
be.
see. We'll
We both
see.
had a 7. We both had a 7,
We know
so
we
we
did,
don't
and we
know.
knew tough
Yeah, we
contest.
both had a
Yeah.
7, so we'll see. Then next up we had Clippers versus uh, Phoenix Suns. I think we both had Phoenix Suns.
We both had sons, but goddamn, it is so funny because our whole thing was like we just don't see how.
Hey, I called it though. I don't know if you
God
remember, bro.
damn it,
I
he.
called it. I
Oh
said.
man, that was our first game,
I said
man.
the Clippers.
Hell of a
Clippers
first
were gonna
game.
come out hot. They were gonna start playing defense, and they did it. They did their thing, but I don't know if they can do it in an extended period of time. But I do think 7 games as well. Next up, obviously we had the 3-6 matchup: Kings versus Warriors, and you pretty much said it on this podcast earlier, but say it again.
I had,
Yeah,
I
it's
had
Kings,
King.
and I had Warriors in 6. Well, I'm not looking too good for that one, but we'll see. We'll see. And then, of course, the other 3-6 that we had in the NBA playoffs.
That was
That's right.
76ers versus Nets. Hopefully had the in this
Yep.
one.
Well, had Sixers. So definitely check out the full episodes if you guys want to see our, full predictions and also previews into the games and also, what we predicted each player to do pretty much. But anyways, this was a great one. If you guys want to write down your comments below and write who you think is going to win each series, we definitely want to hear your opinions as well. And definitely let us know on our social medias as well. If you guys check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff, write down in the comments and let us know who you guys think is going to win the playoffs. Should we real quick give a prediction on who we think is going to be? We'll do that another time. I was going to say a quick finals prediction, but nah, because
No,
we
too
didn't give it.
soon.
We didn't give it early in the playoffs. That's why. But mine didn't change. I don't think. Well, it did actually. It did change after the
I'll
trades.
be honest, I don't remember who I picked coming out the West, but you already know who I picked coming out the
And
East.
you know what? I think I had y'all coming out the East too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, anyways, you guys will have to wait up for that one. But if you guys want to listen to us, you guys already know where to find us: Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. And if you want to watch us, you guys could definitely go check out the YouTube and Patreon as well. That's where we got some podcasts that are not even on YouTube yet. So definitely check us out there. And like we said, you guys could also check out the website for all the good stuff, right?
Of course, www.whoyougotpodcast.com give you access to all the blogs, all the podcast links, all the YouTube videos, all the updated merch, get you ready for summer, and pretty much make sure that you stay in full contact with us, man.
Exactly. And if you just want to talk to us, ask us a question, hit us up on social media on Instagram. I'm at the iconic dude. Hello.
Mellow.
That's right. And we'll definitely see you guys very, very soon. We got a lot of sports coming up this month, and also these NBA playoffs are gonna be hot, and we can't wait for second round, and of course, Western Eastern Conference Finals, and then the finals. So definitely gonna keep you guys updated on all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys on next episode of Who You Got with and
Mellow.
Rado. Peace.